Welcome back to the news at 10. Now we're staying with our story on the building collapse today on Lagos Island, specifically in the Adeniji Adele area. Joining me now to discuss this sad development is a building engineer, Mr. Alex Egunyenga. Thank you so much for joining us on the news at 10.
You're welcome.
Each time this happens, sometimes we speak to structural engineers and they blame inferior building materials. Can we continue to rely on that? What do you think?
Well, materials could be part of it, but materials alone don't do the work. Even if the materials are of high quality, if they are wrongly used, you will still have the same problem. So first of all, we need to look at the materials we're talking about. Then secondly, we look at the people behind the usage of the materials. Thirdly, we have agencies of government that supervise construction. What is their role in this industry? So when we combine these three factors, they will be able to get to the roots.
So what do you think has gone wrong then, looking at the three factors that you've talked about?
Well, so many things might have gone wrong, except there is an investigation. But like I said earlier, if we look at the quality of materials that are used, it could be discovered that there's a problem. Secondly, the materials might be good, of high quality. If the wrong aggregates, for instance, for concrete is used, then there's likely to be a problem. We have situations where the ratio for a suspended slab is different from the ratio for a column or a beam. If you interspace this ratio, you are likely to have problems.
From what we understand today, about 20 other structures around that particular one that collapsed have been identified as weak structures. They've been cordoned off. People have been asked not to go in there. Is there a plan for Lagos Island? Because each time this happens, we talk about, all the other, they're so tightly packed together, rescue operations can't get there. What is the plan for that area?
The unfortunate thing is that Lagos Island does not really have a proper planning from the beginning. If we look at the evolution of Lagos Island as it were, at the time they moved most of the indigenes from Lagos Island to Shita in Surulere, to Ogambasi in Surulere, so that the place could be properly planned. But that has not really happened, because in the course of moving the people, some of them stayed behind. And as long as you have people there, it will be difficult. So instead of proper planning from the beginning, what actually took place was urban rehabilitation. And in the course of urban rehabilitation, it's a case of developing existing structures, not total demolition and then coming up with new ones. So what actually happened in Lagos Island is a case where existing structures are being raised, and if that happens, in the course of raising an existing structure, did you effect this renovation from the foundation, or you just introduced columns and beams to carry the structure? If that is what you did, then you are likely to have problems. But if the foundations were corrected to carry new structures, as the kind of things we are having today, then the likelihood of collapse will not be there.
We hope something can be done. Mr. Alex Egunyenga, thank you for joining us on the news at 10 tonight.
You're welcome.
Now, they've carried on their trade for 90 years in the present location, but the sawmillers at the Ebutemeta waterside in Lagos now face relocation. How prepared are they to make this momentous movement? On our community report tonight, our correspondent Chris Lems focuses on the Ebutemeta wood industry, its impact on the community, and the residents' view on their planned relocation.
Now you're talking.
Our searchlight today focuses on the wood business, which is very massive
in the Ebutemeta axis of the area. This is a workplace for over 5,000 men and women, carrying out different functions and operating at various stages of the wood business. The sawmilling business here is believed to have started over 90 years ago.
Then it was manual. It was manual sawing. I think the issue of machine, this mechanical something came in about 55, 60 years ago.
However, products from here traverse the length and breadth of the country.
Before we export many of our woods, why others are used locally. But locally, not in Lagos alone. We have the northerner, we have the eastern people that came in. They came with their trailer to come and load to all parts of Nigeria.
On several occasions, these sawmillers have suffered a number of losses due to fire outbreak, which is often devastating. On numerous occasions, the Lagos State government has promised to relocate them to a more befitting workplace, which is said to be over 70% completed.
Relocating this industry to another area, I don't think is highly appreciated to me as a person, because two heads are better than one. If we have this industry here and then we have it in another place, are we not multiplying the employment opportunities and revenue generation and development of the industry?
They have been echoing into our ear, and we are ready. We are preparing ourselves that when this place is completed, we are moving you out of this place as agreed. Yes, sir.
There is no gainsaying the fact that this place is a source of livelihood to thousands of people around Yaba and other parts of Lagos. Therefore, everything needed to keep this industry moving must be accorded it. Chris Lems, Channels Television News. Now you're talking.
The Lagos State government has donated 150 million naira to the northeastern states of Adamawa, Borno and Yobe to assist internally displaced persons in the region. The state governor, Akinwumi Ambode, presented 50 million naira checks to each governor of the affected states after the Council of State meeting in Abuja. Speaking at the brief event, Governor Ambode said he stands in solidarity with the victims of insurgency in the affected states. We move on to business news now. Here's Emana Amawe.
You first. First Bank.
Hello and welcome to Business News. Nigeria's former head of the Securities and Exchange Commission, who is now the Vice President in charge of Treasury at the World Bank, Ms. Arunma Ote, says the capital markets platform could be used to achieve plans by the World Bank Group to address climate change and cushion the effects of troubled commodities prices on the global economy. Ms. Ote was speaking with Channels Television correspondent Temple Ashaju at the recent World Bank and IMF meetings held in Lima, Peru.
For us to move to scale up from billions to trillions, which is what the political leaders are asking us to do, we need to develop the capital markets around the world. Also very critical is to make sure that we're bringing innovation so that through innovation we can make sure that we address climate change issues, we can make sure that we address other challenges that we face. What you will see during these annual meetings, the number of initiatives that the World Bank Bank has been leading. One of the ones that is particularly interesting is a pandemic emergency financing facility. And that was really the World Bank's response to the fact that Ebola caught everybody unawares. So what the World Bank has done today is to make sure that the response will be quicker, that funds will be available whenever there's such a challenge.
The Vice President in charge of Treasury at the World Bank, Ms. Aruma Ote. While Nigeria has attracted the most foreign direct investment capital in sub-Saharan Africa since 2007, and that's according to Ernst & Young in its 2015 Key African Attractiveness Survey released on Tuesday. The professional services firm says greenfield FDI projects into the country had grown at a compound rate of 14% in the past 8 years, while the monetary values of that investment had grown at a rate of over 18%. The Ernst & Young reports that despite the falling oil prices, Nigeria's growth will remain stable at 4.4% in the sub-Saharan Africa. And power distribution companies in the country are seeking a 21% increase in tariff for commercial consumers. This comes about a week after the power firms proposed an average increase of 49.4% in electricity tariffs for residential customers. Although their demands are subject to approval by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, the DISCOs have submitted various proposals for an increase in tariffs to the regulator. The Commission says it would review the submissions before approving the rates, and if approved, the new rates will be released by the end of this month. Well, let's move over to the local bourse. The equities market reversed the bullish run recorded in the last 4 trading sessions, with the benchmark index declining by 0.42%. Here's Harriet with details.
After a 2-day positive run, the bears returned to the Nigerian equities market as investors booked profit of some major market movers, including Dangote Cement, which lost 4 naira 40 kobo. That's about 2.60% of the share price. WAPCO and flour mills also got the cold shoulder with losses of less than 1 naira each. Investors paid attention to the shares of Guinness Nigeria, Nigerian Breweries and Owando as they emerged the session's top gainers with percentage gains of 4.72, 2.05 and 8.34. And with a 0.41% drop, the all-share index now stands at 30,199.15. Owando, FBN Holdings and Guarantee Trust Bank were the major contributors to market turnover. When the closing gong rang, investors had exchanged 207.56 million shares valued at 3.43 billion naira in 2,768 deals. That's the stock market report. I'm Harriet Agbinyi.
Thanks indeed, Harriet. Well, let's take a look at how equities fared on the global scene. And that's our package on business news tonight. I'm Emana Amawe. Ijoma will be back with the rest of the news at 10.
You first. First Bank.
A non-governmental organization, the Live Above Poverty organization, has called for synergy between the government and the private sector in order to empower Nigerians. The group believes such partnerships will reduce the rate of unemployment and poverty. And the founder of the organization, who spoke at the 22nd edition of its annual forum in Abuja, said a total of 1.5 billion naira has been disbursed as loans to some of its beneficiaries between January and September this year.
Statistics from the National Population Commission show that 49% of the nation's population are women. Unfortunately, women have always been at the receiving end in times of insecurity, poor political and economic situations. How to ensure that the Nigerian women are empowered to weather this storm is one of the reasons for this gathering, put together by the Lift Above Poverty organization, LAPO. In the past 3 decades, over 1 million women have benefited from the organization.
I think the first thing is that LAPO, Lift Above Poverty organization, is a pro-women institution in the first place. We currently provide services actively to 1.9 million persons, and women account for 92% of that. The reason is obvious. Women tend to be more victim of poverty than men because there is really no society where women are treated as good as men.
Speakers at the event spoke on the need for women empowerment, especially in the face of the dwindling oil prices in the international market. One of them is former military President General Yakubu Gowon, who advised that issues that affect women should be taken seriously by governments at all levels.
The federal, state and local government must deepen partnership with groups and organizations such as LAPO, which have worked assiduously with the people, especially at the grassroots level over the years to alleviate poverty in the country.
And for others, mainstreaming gender into government's policies remains key to achieving the needed socio-economic development in the country.
If you want to help women, you have to focus on them, make them a special target group. Otherwise, the men will come with the education, they are the big ones that also can sign all the papers. Many of the women are not very literate, they are not very educated. So even when you go to a bank, a woman goes to a bank, they will tell you, go and bring your husband, go and bring your brother to bring your guarantor, all those kinds of things. So we need to target women if we really want to empower them properly.
For over 3 decades, the Lift Above Poverty organization, LAPO, has invested in lifting people out of poverty through economic empowerment. They promise to do more in the years to come.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Golden Eaglets promise to keep unbeaten run as the defending champions qualify for the knockout stages at the FIFA Under-17 World Cup. And that's on sports. Just stay with us.